Hey guys, Wormeck here bringing you another episode of the Wormhole. Today we're going to be taking a look at the game called Warframe. Quick backstory about this game. This is currently in an open beta. It's available on Steam as well as on the PS4. It is also available off of Steam. It's by a company called Digital Extremes. Now this is a game I've actually been interested in for quite a while, and I started playing it about a week and a half ago while my PC was not working on my PS4, and I decided that I liked it enough that I wanted to try it out on PC, see if it was any better. I've done so, and I'm very happy to say that it is. It's considerably better on PC in my opinion. The controls are a little bit different, but obviously you have the mouse for aiming, so that's a huge plus, and a lot of other little things. Obviously it's also more up to date since on Steam and PC they can update it pretty much whenever they feel like, whereas on PS4 they do have to go through an update process through Sony. But enough about that. What is Warframe? Well, if you're sitting there cold and at home in this beautiful winter that we're having right now, and you're looking for something to do, I'd suggest checking it out. It's a third-person co-op shooter, slasher, platformer, ninja in space game. That's pretty much how it is summed up. This is the second game, I believe it's only the second game, it might be more than that, by Digital Extremes, the first being Dark Sector, which was a console game. This is in the same universe, actually, but considerably in the future. So in Dark Sector you played as Hayden Tenno, and in Warframe you are playing as the Tenno. The Tenno are now a race in the future, essentially, of super soldiers that are insane and put in these awesome little suits like you see up here. So this is my dude currently. You can get different kind of suits to wear. So I've got the Trinity, which is kind of like a healer. Oberon's like a paladin, that's actually how he's described, and Loki is all about stealth and tricking people with illusions and that kind of cool stuff. So basically you have a character, you start out with some basic weapons. Obviously it's not these. I've actually been playing for probably about 40 hours or so right now. If you can't tell, I'm kind of enjoying my time with it. I do have some issues with it though, which I'll get into a little bit later. So you get your weapons, they level up as you use them. That contributes to your overall XP here, which lets you level up your actual profile, unlock new weapons and that kind of thing. This game is free to play, so it does have microtransactions, which is mostly what I have a beef with. And actually, yeah, let's get into that right now, just to get it over with. So the weapons here, as you can see, there's quite a few weapons. There's a lot of primary weapons, a lot of secondary weapons, a lot of swords, and there is a bunch of different warframes. So all these do have unique abilities. They kind of play pretty differently because of their different styles. But you have limited inventory space to begin with, so you can't get all the warframes at once, can't have all the weapons. You do have to buy them. That's the only thing actually in this game that you do have to actually purchase. There's no other way to get that. You can't get it in-game legitimately. You do have 2 warframe slots and I believe 5 weapon slots to begin with, so you can kind of make do with that, but you can't, like, if you're a collector and you want to have all the different ones that you've had before, you do have to actually pay some money for that. It's not very much. Weapon slots are 6 platinum, and I'll get into what the platinum pricing actually is later. And warframe slots are, I want to say 20, but I might be off on that. So that's pretty fair. What isn't really is everything else in their cash shop. The cash shop is a little bit egregious in its pricing, and we'll take a quick look at that here. So, for example, if you look at the warframes, cheapest one is 75 platinum, which is the 2 starter one, the 2 of the 3 starter warframes that you get to choose from. 75 platinum is equivalent to $5. So when you look at the ones that are like $3.75, that's $25 for one warframe. Now, that's not completely terrible, but when you look at some of the weapons are 225 platinum. So you're looking at close to about just under $20, about $15 for a gun. Now you can build these without warframes included. You can get the blueprints, which just cost in-game credits. You can kill bosses to get the drops and stuff like that. It does take obviously a little bit of farming. It's a game that is focused on grind if you don't want to pay cash for it. Most people generally agree that it is not worth buying most of the cash shop items currently. That may change. As I said, it is an open beta, so they may adjust the pricing. But as it is right now, the only things really worth getting are weapon slots, Warframe slots, and these, let me show you, these things here, Orokin cells and Orokin catalysts. No, not cells, Orokin reactors, sorry, which cost 20 platinum each. So that's not too bad. It's a couple dollars. These greatly increase the performance of your Warframe. You can get them without having to purchase. These can drop in game, but they are very rare. And for the price that they're asking for these, it's actually not too bad. It works out pretty well. These are actually rarer to get than building an entire Warframe. So, price of the stuff that's difficult to get is okay. Price of the stuff that you can realistically farm within a day or two is kind of ridiculous. That's kind of my main problem with that. The rest of the game I'm enjoying greatly. So let's take a quick look at that. So just quickly here, as you play you pick up mods which let you kind of obviously modify your characters and weapons. So you get these different slots here and you kind of just stick them in, they do different things. So I've got a bunch of extra shields, some extra hit points, and these are my 4 skills here. So on Oberon I can kind of knock guys down with a bolt of energy. I can put lightning on the ground that burns people that walk through it. I can heal people over time, and I can lift everyone up in the air, smash them to the ground, make them explode into health. It's pretty fun. This is actually not my main character. I'm usually playing a Trinity, but I'll use this because it's a bit more interesting to kind of watch, in my opinion. And yeah, same thing for all the weapons. As they level up, they get more points, and you can stick more things in them to do all kinds of special stuff, like increase the max ammo, make your guns do freeze damage, crit chances, all that kind of stuff. So it's very varied. There's a lot of different stuff you can do. At the end game, you are kind of forced into certain types of loadouts, in terms of doing damage at least, but there are still some that you can kind of play around with and customize, so that there's not really a strict cookie cutter build, but you do have some more kind of varied stuff for that. So anyway, enough with me blabbing. Let's go jump into a game here. Let's go do on Mars. So right now Mars has got an infestation happening. So there's this race called the Infestation, where they will actually invade zones, and you have to kind of kill them to lower it. So as you can see here, invasion 62.2%. That goes down, so we've cleared about 37.8% of the invasion so far. So I'm going to jump in. As you do these, you do get points along the way. Like here, I have 0 of 3. If I do 3 of this same fight, I will get a mutagen mass when it finally is cleared, along with obviously everything I get along the way. So let's jump into this. I will be playing online, so you'll be able to see kind of how the group interaction works, as well as how some of the other Warframes might react. Now, especially in these missions, people do rush a little bit, so you may miss out on some of the visibility. And the enemies immediately locked us, so I'll show you the hacking minigame. Not super crazy stuff. You just gotta do it before the timer runs out, and you open the doors.
Move on.
Now, I mentioned space ninjas, so you do have things like slide, you can jump kick, you can
I've delivered a life support capsule to the area.
Double flip.
Activating it will buy you more time.
You can run up the walls like so. Backflips, you can run sideways on guys. And it's all just kind of all about mobility and you getting around a lot. So this is a survival mission. There are a bunch of different mission types, so that keeps it pretty varied for you, which is very nice. I'm not really helping on my team right now.
Fallen enemies will drop crucial life support.
So on the right side, that's a mod
Be
that
on
I
the
just picked
lookout.
up. And you get little ammo drops and all that kind of stuff around there, of course. So, this Warframe is designated mostly as support type. So, I do a fair amount of damage actually. Pretty much every Warframe
Life
can, with the
support
exception
incoming.
of Loki doesn't have any direct damage powers, but he has stuff that buffs himself and Trinity doesn't do really any direct damage with her abilities, but she does have some pretty nifty powers that are amazing support as well as her speeder powered up. And I have a feeling the volume is going to be a little loud here, so I'm just going to actually turn it down a little bit further. The game does have pretty awesome music.
I've delivered another life support capsule.
So, what is a survival mission? Well, we pretty much have
Life
unlimited
support
enemies
has
coming
been
at us, and we have to
replenished.
survive for as long as we can. These little tower things like that are glowing here are our main objectives, which is to get air. The enemies cut off the air supply. I don't really know how infested zombie alien monsters cut off the air supply on a ship here, but they did. It gets really weird when you're on a planet and the air supply gets cut off. I don't quite know how you manage to cut off the air for an entire planet, but hey, whatever. We'll take that with a grain of salt for the sake of gameplay. Now, normally there's a lot more enemies going around, but as you can see my team is the green dots. So they're kind of spread out, so they're kind of clearing them individually, which is leaving me with not a whole lot kind of going on, but I'm just going to activate this power up here.
Life support activated.
And we can move up to get all together.
Life support on the way.
Okay, so hopefully we have some enemies coming up soon. Normally for these infestation missions, people run through them pretty quickly since they're just trying to get their 3 wins done, and then they want to get the hell out.
Additional life support
So
has
this
arrived.
will probably last about 5 minutes, and then afterwards we'll check out another mission to kind of give you a better idea of the gameplay. I might maybe go in solo just to kind of give me the opportunity to show things off a little bit more for that. The melee weapon that I'm using currently is this little kind of glaive, which I can actually charge and throw at people. Most melee weapons are melee weapons, so you can't do that, but I am an awesome space ninja, so that's my ultimate ability that lifts everyone up and stuns them. This is a fairly high level mission as well, so the enemies have a lot more health than they normally would. Doesn't really show because we have really high leveled weapons with us right now, but if we were doing this as a new character, you would see I would be pretty much unable to kill anything at all on my own. So there is a level system, so it does encourage players with good gear to kind of go to their own places. You get more experience, you get better loot. Obviously there's a drop system, so all the enemies will drop better gear, more likely to drop rare mods and that kind of stuff. This game does have a lot of random number generator business going on in it as well, so you can end up missing out on kind of a fairly critical stuff sometimes, which is a bit of a shame.
Another life support capsule.
And we're at 5 minutes, so we're probably going to be going to extraction.
When you are ready, go to extraction.
In survival, every 5 minutes you get a
The
bonus
raid is off to a successful start.
as a result of surviving. There's also a defense
Heavy
mode where
infestation ahead.
you defend against
Get
waves of
ready.
enemies. There's exterminate, where you have to kill everything in the level. Most levels other than exterminate do have unlimited enemies that kind of continuously spawn and will come at you regularly to make things interesting, so you can't just completely clear an area. Right now I'm actually trying to level up my pistols, which is why I'm using them so
That
much here.
should keep you going for a while.
And I've switched to my rifle because I ran out of pistol ammo. The pistol I have is kind of ridiculous in terms of ammo consumption. I pretty much eat all of my ammo in a few clips. It sprays the entire clip
Life
in
support
like
on
2
the way.
seconds. Yeah, to give you an idea of the different Warframes, this guy, as I kind of went over his abilities earlier, there's Loki, which I also have, is much more about illusions and trickery. So he's got an ability where he creates a decoy of himself that will essentially taunt all the enemies nearby. He has an invisibility
Additional
skill,
life support has
which
arrived.
lasts a fixed duration, and he's able to get bonus melee damage while he is invisible and chopping people up. He has a switch teleport, it's called, where he swaps positions with whatever he's
Another
aiming at
job
currently.
well executed.
And then he also has radial disarm, where he removes the ranged abilities from all of his opponents that are around him. So like, very different, no damage abilities on him at all. That's kind of the end game screen. You can see all the kind of rewards that I got. Afterwards, it does keep you in the party if you randomly join the party, and you get a little stats screen there. So I don't really want to stay with these guys for right now. And I am going to go and find myself let's do an exterminate mission. Solo. I don't really like the corpus. I'm actually trying to gather a specific item right now. Let's do actually a survival. No, I wanted to show you mission variety. Jupiter. Just gotta find a mission here. Fortunately, I don't remember by heart where most of these things are, but there you have it. Okay, you know what? Yeah, let's just do this rescue. So this is just going to be me by myself, so you'll be able to get a better look at what I'm doing, and I'll be able to show off a bit more specific stuff. This game is always online as well, so don't expect to be playing it offline at all.
There is
So
a
yeah, you can
prisoner
take a better look
here
at my
that is
guy.
vital to
The
our
little floaty thing I
operations.
have is a sentinel.
Search for the holding
It's
location.
basically a little AI companion that follows you around, and
Keep
depending
moving.
on how you slot
None of
stuff,
the
it will
scanners
do
have
different
detected you.
things. So you can get stuff that will, like the one I have vacuums up all the enemy, all the loot. So I can keep track of everything that I've got a lot easier, and I don't have to run around to actually get to it myself. Normally you do have to actually step on top of things to pick them up.
You're on the
Hold on.
sensors now. You've been detected. Find the captive as soon as you can.
And failed.
We don't have much time.
Wait, no, I'm on the wrong side now. That's a pain in the butt. Ah, failed again. Okay, good. Luckily you don't take damage if you fall like that. It's very easy in some of these levels to fall to your death. Or fall to falling. There's a lot of dismemberment. You can cut chunks off of guys. You can kind of be pretty brutal with them. Most melee weapons, if you charge them up, it does not do anything kind of like that. It just does kind of like a bigger, strong hit, which is fine. Oh, you can also do this, where you kind of swat, if you sprint, then slide, then melee, you do a spinning attack that does a lot of damage. But I failed to put it off because I'm terrible. You also want to jump attack with that, it's down. So there's a lot of kind of semi-parkour that you can kind of do, leaping over things like that, climbing walls, navigating a little bit more dynamically rather than just kind of running along a fixed path. So you can kind of just go up and down all the stairs like a boring normie, but you know, you're a ninja in space. You have this awesome suit that lets you run and jump over things. Why would you not take advantage of it? Overall, the game feels pretty well balanced too. There are issues with certain frames being considered better or worse than each other, but they all have access to the same weaponry. The only thing that changes is their powers. So there is some validity to those complaints, as some of the Warframes do have questionable abilities that are either very situational use or don't really make sense to use in some cases.
In one of these cells.
but that is not the case for the majority, and even the ones that do have situational, every Warframe has at least one ability that is pretty much considered decent, if not really good. And again, the damage that I'm doing here is not normal. These are not high enough level for what I'm doing. I don't really want to go into a mission that's super high level where I have to actually pay a lot of attention though. So, hacking minigame again. Yeah, found my guy in the first try.
We need to get them back to command in one piece.
So now I have to get him to the extraction.
And don't leave the subject behind.
What's nice is that even though there's an AI following you, he sometimes gets stuck on objects and things and doesn't go up elevator shafts and that kind of thing. So they made it so that you don't actually have to have him with you. As long as he has been freed, you're good. He also doesn't seem to be able to die. Contrary to some missions where if you're defending something, you do actually have to defend it because the enemy will go after it and kill it, which will, of course, fail your mission. One mission type that's kind of interesting is the capture missions as well, where you actually have to chase down an enemy that will usually flee from you and capture him, and kind of, it seems like you steal his soul a little bit. It's kind of messed up. They put a really strange sound effect and he kind of gets absorbed into your arm. And as I said, it makes it sound like he's screaming.
Ship is entering lockdown. We'll need to override the system.
But yeah, and if you fail, there's usually 2 targets in a level. If you fail to get at least one of the 2, you automatically fail your mission. So those ones are a little bit more stressful sometimes, as if you aren't ready and the enemy spots you from a distance, they can actually get away pretty easily. I apparently was wrong. I think the ally just died. I've actually never seen that happen. So I'm off to a fantastic start right here. Let's see, let's go to a higher level place. Saturn. Yeah, sure. I haven't done this place yet. Deception missions are kind of varied in what they can be. You'll sometimes get different objectives. What's interesting when you're doing invasions is that you're usually helping out one faction or the other. So you're actually not
You're looking for the
killing the enemies that you would normally be killing. You're working with them.
Location.
Makes for a very strange experience, and you tend to try and shoot them all the time. That commander over there just used the equivalent of Loki's switch teleport to switch places with me, because he's a douche. The jump kick is pretty much my favorite move. You travel a lot faster, it feels, and you can kind of get up and down hurdles very quickly.
You are almost at the target. Keep it up.
So, take a quick look at the UI while I'm killing stuff here. Top left, you've got the mini-map. Pretty self-explanatory. Your objectives show on there, as well as enemies, if the enemies are objectives, for example in an exterminate mission. The top right is kind of the main display. You've got your, obviously your Warframe's name, so Oberon in my case. The 25 is the level of the frame itself. Then you've got underneath 4 little icons with 1, 2, 3, and 4 next to them. Those are your different powers, as well as what button they are hotkeyed to. I hit one here, and they take varying amounts of power. It usually goes 25, 50, 75, 100. You can get a mod that decreases those costs as well. There are also things that can increase it, but for the most part, you tend to decrease it whether you increase it for obvious reasons. Underneath that, the blue bar is my energy bar. That's how much power I have to actually activate my different skills. The green is my stamina. I'm not going the right way. Yes, I am. No, I'm not. I gotta go up here. Green is my stamina. That depletes as you sprint and jump and melee and that kind of thing. It regenerates pretty quickly. The power does not come back over time. You do have to get power orbs, which are those blue orbs that you've probably seen me picking up throughout
Marines
the level.
inbound.
To the right of all that, you have the blue 580 that's there. That's my shields. So I've currently got 580 shields. Those regenerate over time when you're not being hit. The red number next to that is my health. Health does not regenerate. The only way to get it back is by picking up red orbs throughout the level. Those do not drop from enemies either unless you have special skills that make that occur. And you normally have to actually find them in loot containers, so health is kind of a bit more of a precious commodity. Usually it's recommended to stack very high shields more than health because your shields will act as a nice renewable buffer. And other than that, just underneath that, there's two icons visible there. Those are for XP and credit boosts respectively. I currently have those due to a promotion that they had just the other day. That's my fourth power that takes 100 energy. What good use there, but that's my second power, which puts this field on the ground, does damage over time. As you can see, it's popping off the enemy. And I just leveled up my pistol, I believe. So the bottom right hand corner is where you have your weapon. That shows you your current ammo on the left, your remaining ammo on the right. So I just ran out of pistol ammo and it auto switched me. And then you have the name of your weapon. Damn it, I hate those guys. The name of the weapon on the... God. Just to the right of the name of the weapon is the level of the weapon. Sorry. Commanders are a little bit annoying in this game, I find.
Your target is this location's computer system. Find and access the
So
terminals.
the level of the weapon levels go up to 30. So this weapon is level capped. Leveling them up does not give them better damage or stats or anything like that. It simply gives you more mod slots to customize your loadouts with. If you hit the Z key by default, you bring up the objective indicator on the left as well as your party bar. That I like to have that on. I'd like to have that on because I find it's an easier way to see how much health, not just I, but the whole party has, so it's good to keep an eye out if anyone gets downed by an enemy. And that is pretty much it for the UI. It's also got the bar there, and you can see the overall level of a character. So I've got a data mass here, which means that I can only use my pistol and sword, which kind of sucks a little bit.
You're almost at the target.
Oh, that's what happened. I ran out of pistol ammo and it switched me to my rifle and made me put it down. Alright, we're good. Here we go.
Upload completed. Nice work.
Alright, so
Get
that's
to
it. I
extraction.
just had to get that in there. Now I just have to get to the exit and escape the level. Pretty straightforward. There's a lot of little kind of secret paths that you can kind of take in a lot of these levels, which is very nice. I very much appreciate kind of diversity and the height available to these levels as well. They're not just boring straight halls all the time, although obviously there are times when
Doors
it
are
is.
locked. Time to break in.
When enemies lock the doors. The enemies like to be very annoying in this game for obvious reasons, when they are enemies. There's 3 different factions. Essentially the story of this game is that following the old one down, and I failed. So every day you get 4 revives you can use. I'm going to go ahead and use one, because obviously I don't want to be a big noob. I just already noobed it up quite enough by dying in this level. But this is the highest level that I can access. So yeah, that's my excuse. Also, I don't see where the terminal is to open the door. I have to backtrack for a while to find the terminal, which shows up as a green icon. There it is. No, don't jump that way. Come on, climb the wall. There we go, now. I'm having some difficulties. There we go. And now it's below me. There we go. So occasionally the enemies lock the doors, which forces you to play the little hacking minigame again. If you're in a group, obviously only one person has to do that. There is also consoles on both sides of different walls, so that if you're locked on one side, you're not stuck waiting for your teammates to open the door. You can go and find a panel and open it from your side, which is awesome, because otherwise sometimes you get stuck for a while with nothing to do while they're killing everything. And run through here. So it's pretty, to go back to the building of the warframes and weapons, as you complete levels and kill enemies, you'll sometimes get loot drops, which are crafting materials. So as you've gathered the crafting materials, you can then use that to craft items that you have blueprints for. So by default, you don't have any blueprints. You get them mostly from either defeating bosses, sometimes rarely, randomly in levels. That roll when you land always gets me. And yeah, so it's pretty fair for that. Each planet does have its own different craftable loot that you can kind of find. So if you need a specific piece of gear, you might just need to advance to a certain planet to be able to get it. But that's pretty much as far as the gating goes. Obviously there is a bit of random element to some of the loot. If you're looking for like the rare crafting component, for example, you may have to... There's some crafting loot right there. So I just got 16 plastids, as you see on the bottom. And yeah, so the random numbers can affect whether or not you'll actually be able to get some of the rarer loot, but it's always just potentially just a grind to get. Most of the crafting loot isn't particularly difficult either, though you can sometimes be a little unlucky with things. But usually you can get all the materials you need from nothing to full in a couple of hours at most. Potentially not including the blueprints, as those are a little bit more rare to gather, since you do have to kill the bosses and they're not guaranteed to drop each piece only once. You can sometimes get duplicates, and so... Okay, seriously? Seriously? I'm like right back where I started. That worked very well. This is pretty much the worst I've ever seen it be for the commanders teleporting. I've never been triple teleported like that before. Our teleport is so annoying.
Doors are locked.
I have different elements on my weapon right now, so you might have just noticed a cloud of kind of poison coming off a guy. That was a result of two of the mods that I have combining. If you combine the elemental mods, you'll actually get kind of boosted elements that enemies are weak or strong against. Kill over time just to counter the bleed effect that I had going on there. I like when you're sliding, the little grinding effect and noise that it does. It's a pretty cool touch. I'm very easily amused by such things. I'm also playing this game on the max graphics settings. Literally everything is turned all the way up. As you can see, it's a very pretty game. I do have NVIDIA physics on as well. There's a lot of particle effects as well as my little cape thing that kind of actually wobbles around. This is not the best cape to kind of show that off. There are some that are actually fabric, which show it off a lot better. It has very nice physics. And other than that, the physics is used for particle effects primarily. A lot of the abilities create big clouds of effects which will kind of float throughout the level, interact, bump into objects, and that kind of thing. So there we go.
Another job well executed.
That's the mission done. So that's pretty much going to be it for our look at Warframe. I'm probably going to be doing some follow-up videos to kind of explain more some of the gameplay mechanics, since there's a lot of things that the tutorial does not include that are very important. That's actually my other problem with the game that I forgot to mention earlier. The tutorial is very lacking. It pretty much just gives you movement controls and the weapon controls, but it doesn't tell you anything specific about how the rest of things work. So there's a whole crafting system, as I mentioned. This is not really explained how this stuff works. There's all these things. There's time that goes down as you craft things. It all takes real time. They don't really explain that. There's this whole element of all the mods. For example, if you look at let me go to my actual mods page where you can see it in a larger screen. But if you look at this, there's a lot of different numbers and symbols and marks on here that aren't explained at all. There's nothing to indicate how this works. So this is kind of a game where you do need a Wikipedia to kind of give you some better information on how some of the things work, as it's really not obvious. There are also little cool alerts, like this one here, that you get some bonuses for doing it. They have a time frame on when they're available or not. So there's a lot of kind of cool content in here. There is some end game as well later on. There's special missions that you can only do at the end. You get special keys like these that you can use to go into things. There's guild halls and that kind of stuff that you can build and customize. There's a lot of content here, a lot more than on the PlayStation 4. It is coming to the PlayStation 4 eventually, and they do have the goal of allowing account migration and potentially cross-play. That doesn't have a specific date or time frame on when it'll be available though, so don't really hold your breath. If you are interested in this game, I would suggest find someone that you know that is playing it, and they can recruit you through here. This actually gives you... Whoops. Go away. Okay, sorry, I thought the recording might have stopped. That actually gives the person that gets recruited a 7-day XP boost, which is huge. It will give you a massive increase to get started, and it's a huge benefit. And obviously the person that referred you does get a bonus as well, but they only get a bonus if you purchase platinum. So if you purchase the actual real money currency, they do get 10% of the first purchase. So nothing completely crazy or ridiculous. If you don't know anyone that is playing the game, feel free to send me a message on YouTube, and I'll gladly send you the referral code to get you started. I'll help you out run some missions or whatever if need be. I'm not gonna be one of those guys and put like referral link or anything like that. There are them. I don't want to spam people, but if you do have an interest and you want someone to play with, definitely hit me up or check out the Warframe forums. There's a lot of helpful people there that can help get you started and kind of show you the ropes. So that's it for our look today at Warframe. So until next time, or until the Warframe follow-up videos that I'll be setting up shortly, it's Wormeck heading out.